All right, everybody, welcome to NorCal Sports Network. And this is the same hat that Brock Purdy's dad wears. Chat loves it when Marty Lurie comes on.
Anytime you lose a game this time of year, when you can't go backwards, it's a problem.
All right, everybody, welcome on in. NorCal Sports Network. The Giants, tough one tonight. Torture, but they win it in 10, 6-5. Good to see them score some runs. I felt like they were not going to win this game tonight if it was 3-2. But they got over the 5 mark and then needed one more. We'll break it all down for you. Before we do, let us thank our sponsor of the show, Chapman Law Group. Chapman Law Group, located in Marin, licensed in all of California. Give Chapman Law Group a call at 415-613-9483 for all your legal needs, especially if you've got a personal injury situation. Make sure you let them know NorCal Sports Network sent you. Chapman Law Group. Thanks, everybody, for doing that. And we welcome you to the show. A big win for the Giants tonight. And this was huge. Big, huge win because this can give them some momentum, give them a little momentum. And you go get the rubber game tomorrow. Make it I guess it wouldn't be the rubber game. The rubber game would be if you're tied at 1-1. But go get the win tomorrow, split the series. And I would imagine Camilo Doval will not be available tomorrow after throwing 2 innings. Again, Doval inconsistent. Giants' closing situation has become pretty unreliable, as I would say. And Philip says, as you said before, Jung Hoo Lee goes, they go. Yeah, Jung Hoo Lee, good to see him get going tonight. He was able to get 3 hits, almost got, 3/4 of the cycle. And, I thought about Jung Hoo Lee tonight, guys, and I thought, is Jung Hoo Lee back, or is Jung Hoo Lee just familiar with Merrill Kelly? Because I started thinking Merrill Kelly pitched in the KBO. And sure enough, as I looked it up, here's the stats. Oops, let me get back out of here. I hit the wrong button. Let's go. Come on. I hate the way Twitter does this. If you mess up. Okay. All right. Here's I said it's nice to see Jung Hoo Lee get out of the way. I don't want to see that. Whatever. I'm not promoting it. All right. Whatever I said, I can't remember because I can't see it. But I said something nice to see him breaking out of a 7 for 66 slump, which was 106. Then I remembered Merrill Kelly used to pitch in the KBO. So out of curiosity, I was like, how did he do it? Did he ever face Merrill Kelly? Yep. In the KBO, Jung Hoo Lee had a strong head-to-head record against Merrill Kelly with a 467 batting average, 7 hits and 15 at-bats. They faced each other previously in the KBO when Kelly played for the SK Wyverns and Lee played for the Nexen Heroes. While they both now play in Major League Baseball, they haven't faced off against each other yet until tonight. So Lee goes 2 for 3. So he's now lifetime 9 for 18, hitting 500 off Merrill Kelly. So you have to wonder, is Jung Hoo Lee, getting out of a little slump, or did he just kind of familiar? Kind of like Austin Slater tonight hit a bomb off of Clayton Kershaw. 4th home run that Austin Slater has hit against Clayton Kershaw. And we all know that Slater stinks. So the fact that some guys just own certain guys. So we'll see. We'll see if this does anything for Lee. Let's hope it does. It might untrack him. It's possible that you get that confidence back and you get rolling. And it's very possible. So we'll see in the next few days, right? We'll see what Lee does over the next game tomorrow and the 3 games up in Sacramento. And if you start seeing some positive signs, at least hitting the ball hard, right? Don't necessarily have to always get hits. You can't tell always, you can't, all you can do as a hitter is go up and hit the ball hard. And if it finds a glove, well, you did your job. So we'll see how that goes tomorrow and over the weekend. 4th of July up in Sacramento. That should be some real fireworks there. Now, I think this would be good for the Giants we got the monsoon here. I can hear it raining right now. Oh, yeah. It's pouring. I can hear it pouring right now. We definitely have a monsoon going. The wind is here. Monsoon season here in Arizona. Dbacks 25 says, Dbacks 25, why does this team not attempt to steal bases? I think you got to ask Bob Melvin that, because I don't know what Melvin's philosophy is. It was horrible last year, in my opinion. They didn't steal enough bases. Start of the season, they were stealing bases. They were playing good baseball. They were putting pressure on the defense. And all of a sudden, they just stopped. So I'm not sure what the reason is for that, Dbacks, but thanks for that. Number one, I will say this: Jung Hoo Lee is not a great base runner. He doesn't look like he's confident in the bases. They're probably best base stealer is Ramos and Chapman is my guess. But they're just not a good base running team. They ought to send him at the break instead of taking a break. They ought to send him down to rookie ball, learn how to run. I'm being a little facetious there. Obviously, they're going to need a break, but just going through the chat here. Well, let's go through the ball game first. Why don't we? Lou will be out until Sunday, so he's in Vegas. But the Giants mustered up 10 hits tonight in 10 innings, average 1 hit an inning. I can live with that. Yaz started the game off with a leadoff homer, which was great to see, and then the Giants were able to plate another run in as Adames came in. I believe it was Adames that came in on the base hit by, or was it Devers that scored? Let me see. No, Devers struck out in the first inning. Surprise, surprise. Flores walked. Lee tripled. That's right. Lee tripled, bringing home Flores, making it 2-0. And then after that, it remained 2-0 all the way until the third inning. That's when Devers had wisely let off with a double. Yaz flied out, Adames grounded out, then Devers singled to right, wisely scored, making it 3-0. Diamondbacks came back with 2 in the bottom of the 5th off of Landen Roupp, who started to struggle in the 5th. Thomas homered to right center, and then Herrera walked, Perdomo walked, Marte singled to left, and it was bases loaded. And then they brought in Eric Miller. He did a great job of getting out of the inning with relatively no damage except for 1 run. He struck out Tim Tawa, and then Naylor hit a sac fly to right, scoring Herrera, and then Suarez struck out swinging, which was huge. That was a big moment in the game because Suarez got big home run power there, and he could have hit a 3-run homer and made it 5-3. And I think that would have been it for the Giants. I think they would have struggled to come back and win. Stays 3-2 until the 8th inning when the Giants added 2 important runs on. Started with Flores lining out to right. Lee reached out in an infield single to first. Matos walked. Lee to second. Then Bailey singled to center. Lee scored. Matos goes to second. Line out by Fitzgerald, which is a nice play by Marte. Wisely singles to right. Matos scores. Bailey to third. And then Yaz lined out. And the Giants would stay. It would stay 5-2. Well, 5-3 in the 8th inning. The Diamondbacks pushed across to run. And then the 9th inning, Duvall pitching, Bertomo singles to left, and then Marte hammers a bomb to right. Good for Ketel Marte. I mean, if you're, just a baseball fan in general, you like to see guys that succeed, but not against your team. Tough to see the Giants give up that. And at that point, it was like, are they going to lose this game? This would have been a disastrous loss tonight had the Giants blown this game. So, but the Giants push across one in the 10th, a big, huge bat by Patrick Bailey. Bailey seems to me like he might be one of the more bat control hitters, a guy that knows how to hit in situations better than he just knows how to hit in just coming up to the plate when there's not a big key situation. He seems to either plunk a base hit somewhere or lay down a nice bunt or get the sacrifice fly like tonight. So I think that's important. The whole thing with Duvall, as I see NorCal Sports Talk Live say, Duvall is not confident no matter how much rope Melvin gives him and how many times he redeems himself in a game, he will always mope and pout. He doesn't look like a closer. He looks like Jordan Hicks. He doesn't have the fire out there, kind of laid back. Jordan Hicks is the same way, very laid back. Jordan Hicks tonight, where Boston gave up a couple of runs, got shelled. I, like a fool, picked him up, put him on my fantasy team. He'll be gone in a couple of hours. He will not play on my ball club. So I was hoping that he might find himself as a bullpen stud with Boston, but Jordan Hicks just doesn't have it. And the Giants bullpen issues are starting to rise up. One of the things I mentioned to you guys a few weeks ago that concerned me was watch the bats start to eventually come alive and the pitching will start to falter. I don't think the way the Giants pitched in the first half of the season, I'm not sure they can maintain it because I'm seeing weak arms. We've already seen now Carson Seymour was sent down today, and they brought up Mason Black. Deloading says, Dan, you are better than that. Better than what? I don't even know what you're referring to. I'm just talking here, so I could have said something. Picking up Jordan Hicks. That's what he means. Yeah, I was thinking maybe he might find new life, but I'm not giving him a leash, man. He's cut tonight. Maybe Cliff Martinez might want to pick up Jordan Hicks, or hey, Cliff, I'll trade you Jordan Hicks tonight if you want to make a deal. I'll give you Jordan Hicks you got to take him off my hands in a throw in. I'll give you a 2-for-1. Maybe we can talk about Rafi. Okay, so as we, I see that he was joking. Yeah, now I get it. Yeah, I definitely should be better than that. That was dumb thinking on my part. Lou Marston from Vegas. Duvall hasn't been the same since last year. We heard from me after him giving up 4 in the top of the 9th. Then I got escorted out of the ballpark. Yeah, you're like that fan that messed with Marte, Lou. Are you that guy that? Be careful. Don't say anything too bad. You might get tossed out of Oracle for life, and you won't even be let in at San Diego in next month. I'm teasing Lou. He gave it to Vol last year. Let's see. I'm going to run through this chat, but my stars of tonight's game. Let me go to the stars of the game here. I'm going to lead off with Jung Hoo Lee. Good for Jung Hoo Lee. 3 for 5. Got his batting average up to 246 from like 240, somewhere in that neighborhood. 3 for 5. And whether it was off a familiar pitcher or not, he needed it. So let's hope it carries over. I'm going to give my star number 2 to Eric Miller for coming in and holding that. I mean, bases were I think, loaded when he took over, if I'm not mistaken. He got out of it with only giving up 1 run. So Eric Miller gets a star. And how about Spencer Bivens? Comes in, throws 14 pitches, 11 strikes, gives up 1 hit, strikes out 2, keeps the line moving. So, and that's where I'm going. I'm going with 2 pitchers. The bullpen, I'm going with Eric Miller and Spencer Bivens holding things down. And, of course, Jung Hoo Lee. Honorable mention I will give to Yaz for leading off the game to start the game with a home run. When the team's kind of faltering and you come up in the, start the game and you put your team up 1-0 just like that, that is a very big spark, So, deloading says, Hope Springs Eternal Big Harry. I was just clicked on the wrong one, but Miller had a big inning. For as much as I don't like him, he's had a good year. Yeah. I mean, he's frustrating at times, as all relievers can be. My fantasy team, you lose a point for every hit you give up and for every run you give up and every walk or hit by pitch. So you gain points for outs and strikeouts, and you also lose a point for giving up a home run. I have Tommy Kahnle of the Detroit Tigers in my bullpen, and the guy gave up 5 runs tonight in the 8th inning and lost me 16 points. That's how bad a reliever can be for you. Jordan Hicks lost me 3 points. I mean, Tommy Kahnle usually gets me 4 to 5 points every time he pitches. Tonight, minus 16. The guy had like 125 on the season. He gives back 16. So it can happen. He not only took the loss, which is minus 3 points. If you blow a save, you can lose 3 points. It's crazy. So closers that's the way they go. Relievers, you just never know what they're going to do. You just don't. They have one bad inning, and it's pretty rough. If a day off works that well, give Adames the day off tomorrow. I think that would be good, but they don't have anybody. Who's going to play short? Who would play short tomorrow? Fitzgerald? And then you'd have to go Flores at third. And you'd have to have Wisely at second, something like that. Cost is gone. Unfortunately, they don't have much depth in the infield. Duvall, I was wondering who was going to pitch the 10th too. I mean, you look at the Giants, who they pitched tonight, they didn't have much left. They had Miller, Bivens, Rodriguez, Rogers, and Duvall go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who were you going to pitch in the 10th? You basically had down there Lucchesi, and you had Mason Black. And there might be somebody else I'm missing. But that's 2 of the guys you had in there, and I don't think you wanted either one of those guys in there. Matos can play short. Yeah. Duvall has nasty stuff, but I understand why the Giants want to move off of him. Yeah, Duvall doesn't throw that doggone cutter or fastball or whatever you want to call it, 2-seamer, 4-seamer. He doesn't throw it. The ball Marte hit out was another hanging slider, and he gets slider happy. And what makes Duvall effective is throwing that high heater right up under the chin. That'll make you think. And guys get a little, back off a little bit. So, let's see. As I'm trying to manage the chat, I might need to bring somebody in here. I don't know if we've got anybody in the out there that wants to join me, but you know what? It's early. I will throw in the link if anybody wants to come join the show, you can do that here shortly once I get the link set up in the chat. I'll let you know. And there she goes. All right. Links in the chat. If you got some questions, comments, we'll run it through quickly. But this was a huge win tonight because the Giants now go to 46-41. The Dodgers were losing the last I checked 4-2. Max Muncy looks like tonight he may have blown out his leg or something. I don't know what the injury was. There was a man on second base for Chicago. He attempted to steal, and as he was stealing the throw, Muncy caught the ball on the run, put the tag on him. Oh my gosh. The Dodgers were down 4-2 and just walked it off on the White Sox 5-4. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? The Dodgers just scored 3 in the bottom of the ninth, and the Giants do not gain a game. Forget the division. The Dodgers have got it wrapped up. Who did it? Let me look and see. It looks like it might have been Freddie Freeman. Let me look at the bottom of the ninth. Okay, bottom of the ninth inning. Conforto singled to right to lead it off. Edman walked first and second. Kim walked, bases loaded. Ohtani comes up, grounds into a fielder's choice. Second to second, Conforto scored. Kim out at second, Edman to third. So first and third. Betts hits a sacrifice fly. Edman scores. Smith walks. Freeman singles to right. Ohtani scores. Game over. And that's why these guys are tough to beat. They're down the entire night. And what a rough night. I mean, for Max Muncy. Now, the question is, what are the Dodgers going to do for third base going forward? They may move Tommy Edmonds into third. I don't know. Maybe they go out and trade for a Nolan Arenado. Maybe an Alex Bregman with Boston. Do they do that? Heck, I would be down for getting Dalton Rushing from the Dodgers and giving him Chapman and get out of the contract and get Dalton Rushing, a great young catcher hitter with lots of upside, but that'll never happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I just think, man, a couple years from now, Rushing's going to be boom and Chapman's going to be going the other way. But I don't think the Dodgers would even get rid of Rushing, even if Chapman was available, because Dalton Rushing is their number one prospect and he can hit. He's a lefty. But anyway, I see we got someone in the green room. It looks like it's Johnny Cesari from Vegas. What's up, Johnny? Got your
What's
Giants
going on, Dan? Duvall at least got the win. That's all I'm going to say. At least it shows confidence.
Well, who else could you put out there? Do you want to throw in Mason Black in that situation or Joey Lucchesi?
Not really, but it's a win, and as much as I hate to admit it, Chapman is sorely missed because Schmidt playing second would deepen the lineup and it would help Devers, who's clearly pressing.
Oh yeah. We can't really judge this Giants team until probably. I'm hoping they both come back during the A series. I think Casey's eligible to come off the IL on Sunday. I've heard Chapman might be available for this series, but maybe more like Philadelphia or LA. I'm kind of look at it like this. If he's not 100% Chapman, if he's like really close, and the LA series he's going to play in that LA series, for 3 games, I just say give him a whole nother week off and let that thing heal, because you still will have 60. Let's see, they've got 10 more games before the break. Okay. And they've got 75 or so left right now, I think. 65. I'd rather have a healthy Chapman for 65 than having him battle it out for 68.
Yeah.
If he's 100%, put him in there. Put him in there. If he's 100%.
I know how horrible it's been. Pull up the wild card standings.
On the wild card standings, I think the Giants are. Let's see how we're looking here.
You're going to be surprised.
Well, I know I looked at them yesterday. Their Giants were behind 2 or 3 teams.
It's improved since.
Wild card. Well, the Padres lost to the Phillies today. They split a doubleheader.
But the Cardinals can't win now, but they're not going to trade Arenado because look where they are.
True. Half a game out, Giants. So
that's why, as horrible as it's been, they're fine.
Well, I don't know if I'd go as far as to say they're fine. They're not hitting well. They got something going tonight, but
I
think they need Let's see how they do with Chapman and Schmidt. If they start hitting, which I think they will do much better. I mean, Schmidt and Chapman definitely give you more pop in the lineup and more of a threat. So we'll see how that goes, if that gives this team a spark. So we'll see how it really breaks down. But they've got to – my biggest concern is the pitching staff on this team is wearing down. And we've seen it happen for 3 consecutive seasons. They wear out the bullpen. Roupp looks like a guy that cannot go through the 3rd time of the order. He struggles in the 5th inning constantly. Verlander looks like, to me, he's not nearly the same, and he's just gritting it out. And Birdsong looks like a guy that is very inconsistent and erratic. So you have 2 pitchers, Webb and Ray. You're going to have to go out and find a starter or 2. And if you can do that, and if you can add a bat somewhere in the lineup, if you could go out and get a Luis Robert, for example, who's having a horrible season, absolutely horrible, but maybe a new place, maybe he gets going.
I want O'Hearn. Look at your Baltimore
He's a DH
hat.
All-Star. Yep, he's a DH All-Star. The All-Star team was named today, guys, by the way. National League catcher was Will Smith. First base was Freddie Freeman, who I have on my fantasy. Ketel Marte, who I have on my fantasy. Francisco Lindor, who I have on my fantasy team. And Manny Machado, who I have on my other fantasy team. The outfield consisted of Pete Crow Armstrong, Kyle Tucker, and Ronald Acuna, who I actually have on my all-star team, on my fantasy team. So I've got 4 of the 9 starters in the National League on one of my fantasy teams.
Well, that fantasy team's probably pretty good, but why'd you pick up Hicks, Dan?
I just had him on the IL, and I thought I was stashing him on the IL, so I activated him, but he's gone. He has, after this show is over, George Hicks will be have the eject button, and he will not get to the privilege of being part of my team. So Jacob Wilson beat out Bobby Witt Jr. tonight for the All-Star night. I voted for him last night. I looked and I just voted like I voted pretty objectively. I voted for the 2 candidates. I voted for At first base, I actually voted for Alonso over Freeman. I thought Alonso's had a pretty good first half. He's been healthier. He's played more. At second, I went with Marte. I went with Lindor. And then it was Max Muncy and Machado. I obviously voted for Machado. And my outfield, I think I went Tucker Armstrong, and Soto over. I thought Soto's come on strong over Acuna. But
it's weird. The Soto has been hitting, and the Mets have been absolutely terrible lately. So I actually think that's kind of funny, but that's baseball.
Oh, is this the verdict on Muncy? Grade 1 MCL strain?
He's going to be out a while. He's out a while.
That's only 2 to 3 weeks. That's 2 to 3 weeks.
They'll probably
MCL grade 1 is 2 weeks. So they're going to bring him back
after the All-Star break, probably.
Break. Yeah, he'll be fine. Good timing for them because they've got 10 games, so he'll get 2 weeks. Maybe he goes 3 weeks. It's lateral movement for your MCL.
Well, but yeah, Dan, I was in Arizona for the first 2 games. The ballpark was fun. It was a good time, but that was hard to watch.
Oh yeah, when they don't score, it's brutal. It's brutal to watch.
I mean, I still think they're going to get another bat. They need to get a starting pitcher, though, desperately.
Yeah. Dbacks says Duvall is a thrower, not a pitcher, meaning when he releases the ball, he doesn't know where the ball is going to be.
Well, Dan, it's because he relies on his slider too much, and he has a splitter that I wish he would throw a little bit more and throw the fastball more. You throw 102, throw the damn thing.
That's what I was saying earlier. He's got to throw it. He's got to use the fastball. He hung a slider. Matthew says, Dan, do you think there's any chance the Giants go after Tucker this season? I'd love if they signed him and another great hitter. You know, if Rafi Devers continues to do what he's been doing since he became a Giant, that will actually feed the narrative that it's tough to hit at Oracle, and I think it would be disastrous for the Giants' chances of landing Tucker. But if all of a sudden Devers gets hot and he hits some home runs and ends up with over 30-plus homers, and there's several of them come at Oracle, and the Giants somehow have this magical second half and make the playoffs, I think they have a decent shot at Tucker. The question is, will the Giants actually go after him? If they're willing to do that, I don't think, if they're willing to do it, I think there's a possibility. Skater says that's stupid. He's not hitting on the road. Well, he's only had 3 road games, Skaters. He's only had 3 road games. He's pressing. He's not getting all the best pitches to hit. I'm not worried about Devers. What I'm trying to say is if he hits the ball at home,
which I think he will,
then I don't think it's an issue. But I don't think Tucker, Cliff says he will never sign in San Francisco. I wouldn't count on it. I would not get my hopes up on it. I think, the Giants' best bet is to develop their own players, and they need to into Skaters. 2 hours in San Francisco. He's already in. What I don't know what he's saying here. He's already into out in San Francisco in 2 hours. I don't know what he means. Maybe there's something I didn't hear.
And Devers.
He's already hit. He's hit 2 out. Maybe that's what he's 2 home runs. Yeah, 2 home runs. There we go. Yeah, he's hit 2 out. So we'll see. He might end up liking the ballpark. I don't know. We'll see. I'd love to see him hit well.
Devers will start hitting in Sacramento. Like after the 4 strikeouts or whatever, the bats seem to be a little bit better. You might see one of these situations where he hits 4 home runs in 3 games against the A's and that bandbox in Sacramento because it's going to be warm. And then all of a sudden he's going to be at least comfortable. Yeah. I still don't think he's comfortable.
Yeah. Get Devers going a little bit. We might be able to string together a few wins. Adamas too, and I honestly believe Don Smith. I like Don Smith starting personally. I just like having him in the lineup. I think he balances the lineup up. He's a decent big league hitter. He's a better first baseman, and he brings a left-handed bat that gives you a little bit more balance in your lineup, so you're not too heavy on one side. So
I was actually surprised, Dan, that they exercised Melvin's option before the year was over, but I kind of also understand why they did. They don't want any uncertainty, at least at manager after the year's over, and that is Chapman's guy. So I was kind of on the fence about if they were going to actually exercise the option, then they did. So I was like, all right.
on who?
Bob Melvin?
Oh, Melvin. They had to do something with Melvin. They couldn't leave him as a lame duck. I'm not worried about that. I don't get worked up over the signing, the extension. My feeling is if you just let him sit out there, what's going to end up happening is you're going to have a cloud hanging over the entire team the second half. People are going to
Correct.
start acting, what's happening with Melvin? Is he going to get signed? And by addressing it now, what you do is you tell this young ball club, it's got vets as well, but I mean, you tell this club, look, this is where the direction of the future of the Giants. Bob Melvin is squarely a part of it, and and you give him the vote of confidence. Now, that being said, if the Giants, who right now sit at 46 and 41, which is they've played 87 games, so they have 75 games exactly left. If the Giants in that 75 games go 30 and 45 and finish 12 games under 500, and it looks like there's a loss of the clubhouse somewhere, you just say, you know what? We've had a change of direction because the circumstances dictate a change. Exactly. So, you just go with that. And you know what? Melvin's not going to be here that long term, most likely, unless the Giants have a playoff run and then they come back next year and they're playing well, and they say, we're going to extend Melvin. They're going to give him another 2 years on top of the 26.
So, Dan, you'll think this is interesting because I looked at it and I thought it was kind of curious. So the books will keep up live win totals for just the season or whatever. They have the Giants at 87 wins. If they did that, I would actually be halfway impressed.
Who has them at 87 right now?
That's at Caesars.
Oh, for the rest of this year, they got him at 87.
Well, if they did that, they would probably make the playoffs, which would be good for my plus 375.
It'd be right there. It'd be right there. I'm not sure if it might be a game or two short.
I mean, if they win 87, what they'd be 87 and 75. I mean, they'd be right around there.
Oh, I say they'd be within a game or so. Yeah, it's going to be close. It's going to be anywhere between making the playoffs. It depends on how the rest of the season goes. These guys, everybody beats up on another. Could be as low as 85, could be as high as 90 to make it.
Yeah, but, I mean, the thing is, when you look at the National League, I mean, obviously the Dodgers have the best record in it, but once you get below them, I guess the second best team would probably be the Cubs, but they can't really pitch. They could hit.
Yeah. We'll see. This comment by NorCal Sports Talk Live is interesting because I have seen Eldridge's swing quite a bit, and although I really like the kid and I think he's got a ton of upside, he does strike out a lot. He really does strike out quite a bit. and there is some holes in his swing. And once he gets to the big leagues, they're going to figure that out, and he's going to have to adjust. So,
well, him hurting the hamstring probably wasn't the best thing for him, because that might have a little bit of rust because they're not going to just throw him back in there. But
yeah,
I mean, I like what I've seen, and Dan, I think they're going to be forced to call up Wisden Hunt if the pitching continues to struggle. They're gonna throw this kid in there to see what he has, because Verlander can't do it. Roupp, it looks shaky tonight, and Birdsong is very up and down. So
yeah.
if the pitching continues to struggle, you're going to see Wizenhunt up here probably a lot sooner than people would like.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll see. Hope we'll see how this works out. Hey, I'm going to let you run, Johnny. Going to open it up a little bit more if anybody else wants to come in. Otherwise, we're going to close out here pretty shortly. So, but always welcome. Appreciate you coming on in, giving us your insights. So we'll be back tomorrow night. Tomorrow is tomorrow a day game or a night game? Let me look. Giants play tomorrow.
It's 6:40, Dan.
6:40, another night game. Okay.
And
All right.
And then all three against the A's and SAC are all night games.
Yeah, all 7:05 games. 7:05 on Friday and Saturday. Sunday is a 7:05 game as well.
But yeah, Dan, on the bright side of playing in Sacramento, at least the hitting will be there.
Hopefully, and hopefully Casey Schmidt is coming off the IL Sunday, because I believe he's eligible. If he doesn't, that means maybe he's not healed yet. So we'll see. Hopefully that hand is getting better. I'll have to check in, find out. But hey, good to see you, Johnny, and come back the next time we open the lines up.
Have a good one, Dan.
All right, take care. All right. Johnny Cesari, the man. He's a big Giants fan, and he loves his Giants as everyone else out there does as well. Hey, I'll open it back up here, guys. If you want to come in quickly. I'm not going to go super long tonight. There was some big news tonight in the game. Clayton Kershaw got his 3,000th strikeout. I would play that, but I probably will get a little slap on the hand from YouTube, and then they will not give us the money for the show. So go check out Clayton Kershaw on Twitter. You can find him under John Boy Media. You can find him under quite a few. This was Senior with his kid back in Williamsport, Hall of Fame, Cooperstown, New York. We did not win it all, made the Sweet 16 out of 82 teams. Good run, but lost a heartbreaker in the Sweet 16. Hey, that's pretty good to get to the Sweet 16 out of 82 games. That means you got to win at least, I don't know if it's a double elimination type deal or if you just single elimination like the NC2A, but man, 82 teams and to get into the 16, that's pretty good. Tommy says we can't beat the Sox in a series and the Dodgers will sweep them. Yeah, Sox had them all night, and it looked like Kershaw didn't get his 3,000th strikeout until the 6th inning on his last pitch. Threw a beautiful pitch on the outside, a called strike 3, and that's what everybody was there for. Somebody made it to the Final Four. Wow. All right, so the Giants tonight, again, guys, they win the game 6-5. The lineup has a little bit better production led by Jung Hoo Lee, who had 3 hits tonight, and 2 hits by hold on here. Let me pull up the box again. I forgot. 2 hits by Wisely, I believe. I think Wisely was 2 for 4 tonight. Brett Wisely. Good for the kid to get a couple of hits after getting picked off a couple times last week. He goes 2 for 4, gets 1 RBI and 1 run scored. So Brett Wisely, could add him to the honorable mention with Yaz. My players of the game again. For those who did not hear, I went first with Jung Hoo Lee, and then I went with Eric Miller and Spencer Bivens in the bullpen for really keeping the Giants in this thing. Both of them pitched well tonight. The key was they threw strikes. Miller threw 7 of his 11 pitches for strikes, and Bivens 11 of his 14. So you got to throw strikes when you come in out of the bullpen. And if you don't throw strikes, you're going to give up walks, and then those are going to lead to runs, and then it's just a mess. Oh, yeah. The injured third baseman. Yeah. They'll be back, though. I think the Giants, once they get healthy, will get a chance to see this team. Hopefully, immediately after the All-Star break, they should be really at full strength. You never know. Hey, guys, I got a question for you in the chat. And it's just, I want to get your answers quickly. I don't know how to do a poll, but I got to thinking, another player I have on my fantasy team is Spencer Schwellenbach, who pitched a gem the other night, but he fractured his elbow in a game he just pitched a couple days ago, and he's out until September. The Braves also have already lost Chris Sale for quite a while. They have lost Ronaldo Lopez for most of the season, and then they lost A.J. Smith-Schwaber. So they've lost Schwellenbach, Schwaber, Sale, and Lopez. 4 starters, okay? They also lost Spencer Strider last year, and he's back. So my question is, do you pay a starting pitcher for 4 or 5 years with big money? Because it seems like all the starters seem to be getting hurt these days. So my question to you guys is, do you want to keep Logan Webb and just keep him and run with him because he's your best pitcher and he's the only shot the Giants have of, he's really their only true pitcher? Or do you want to, and risk him getting hurt like all these other pitchers that get hurt and miss time across baseball, and you have nothing to show for it? Or would you rather use his value, which is really high, and go out and get a star hitter, a real big-time hitter? What do you guys think? I'm seeing no trade is asked immediately, stupid dumbass. Yes, we keep him. You can't bank on an injury. Well, you can't bank on an injury, but you can kind of look at trends and see that a lot of these pitchers, majority, seem to get hurt at some point and miss a lot of time. I'm only seeing 2 people respond. If you could get yourself a all-star level hitter, I'm just trying to think of somebody that might be a fit. You know, I can't think of anybody, but I mean, what happens if you got a young pitching staff? How about I got one for you. Would you trade? Hold on, I'm gonna pull this up. Let me see if this works. I'm gonna pull this up, and I'm gonna suggest a possibility here. Take me a minute to put the teams together. All right, we want the Giants. And the other team we want is them. And we'll check. Webb's surplus value is shot up. It's gone up to 87, which is pretty doggone good. And let me see what I've got here. All right, I get this guy back in a deal. And let me see here. Hold on. I don't think they have enough guys. Hold on here. This is. How's that look? Let's see. Oh, we can get one more player out of this. Hold on, guys. I'm just pushing something together. I don't know who that guy is. That guy's not much. All right, let's try this. Let's try. One sec. I'm sorry. This is kind of dead here. I'm putting together. Maybe I should just show you guys what I'm doing rather than. Okay, so here's the. Oops! Get out of there. There's the trade. I'm looking at some players on the. All right. Maybe is Senior in here right now? Senior softball games. Is he in here? All right, Senior, hang in here. Hang in here with me. I want to get your opinion on this because you know who I'm talking about here. You're going to know this guy. And I want to see if any of you guys would make this trade. Okay. So hang in there with me as I put this trade together. All right. One second here. I need another player. All right. Let's see if that works. 86, 80. Okay. All right. I don't know. Would you guys make this trade right here? Can you guys see this trade? Oops, hold on here. Let me make sure I don't screw it up. Okay. There's the trade. Jacob Mizorowski with the Milwaukee Brewers, a young stud pitcher. William Contreras, a good hitting catcher from the right side, and Chad Patrick for Logan Webb. I want to hear from you, chat. Who would make that trade? Who's Senior says, let's do it. Wait, maybe he's talking about something else in another conversation. Coach Karan Johnson says no. How many years on Jose? Oh, wait, there is no Jose. Maybe the way I see it, we always develop pitching and never get hitters to sign here. So the thinking you trade a guy like Webb for a quality hitting, banking on the fact that the Giants develop another. Okay. Alex Martinez says no. Bay Area Chris says no way Milwaukee makes that trade. He might know who Mizorowski is. I'll bet you half the people don't even know who Mizorowski is, right? Have you guys seen Mizorowski pitch? Bad trade for Milwaukee, would never go through. Yeah. This Mizorowski might be more dominant than Webb. This guy's been unhittable. Senior, did we get you to weigh in? That dude is nasty. Absolutely. Absolutely. But these are the type of things you have to be looking at before they make their debut. I had this guy on my fantasy team before, when he was in the minor leagues. And then I read a report that he might not even get the call up this year. So I released him. And then 3 days later, he comes up. The guy's a stud. I was watching him in the minor leagues pitch, and I go, oh my gosh, this guy's nobody can hit him. How many years left on Contreras? I think there's a few. Cliff Martinez says he'd do that trade. Yeah. See, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah, exactly. This is what the Giants really, really need to do and get ahead of the thing. They don't have much value, or assets. Webb is a huge asset. And if he could bring you a prospect like that, yeah, I don't think Milwaukee would agree to it. I don't even know if the Brewers would do that trade straight up. Logan Webb for Mizorowski. He's younger and he's controllable and he's cheap. So I'm not sure. Yeah. So I'm not sure how that would work. The question is, what is our record with Webb pitching? A 500 team. It's give and take. I'd take the hitter because we can sign a pitcher in free agency and develop. Yeah. Giants have all these long-term contracts and they are not that young. They can't be building. They need to go for it later. They need to go for it later, quick, in a few years, and Webb is needed for it. Okay. I would go, here's another trade. If you want to talk about another trade, I'll show you a trade that, well, Miami's not going to do it anyway, so doesn't matter. Miami is not going to take Webb in a deal. They don't want a contract like that. Bailey is almost at 200. Yeah. So, well, guys, did I put the link in the chat? I thought I did, but I don't think anybody else joined. Here, let me give you one last crack at it, and I'm out here in the next 10 minutes. So if anybody wants to join, come in now, or the show will end. Hold on here. I'm trying to cut and paste. There we go. Copy, paste. All right, there's the link in the chat. If you want to come in, do it quickly. But it was nice to see the Giants actually score some runs tonight, have some life, saw some life in the dugout. Oh, what website is that? Okay, that is baseballtradevalues.com. Baseballtradevalues.com. Then you go to the simulator and you can create trades. Baseballtradevalues.com. Baseballtradevalues.com. All righty. So, yes, I thought I saw some life in the Giants tonight, a little bit in the dugout. And, teams, when they go through this, they just need to put together a couple of wins, and then things start turning for you. And, hey, so far this road trip, they're what, 2-4? Yeah, they're 2-4. So they still have 4 to go. They still have an opportunity if they win them all if they win them all, they'll go 6-4. So that would be a very satisfying road trip, especially if they won the last 5, right? To go 6-4. But at this point, you want to at least be a 5-5 trip. Otherwise, it's not a good trip. Problem with let's see how the standings are doing with. I think I don't think Toronto's going to be trading Bichette, Johnny. I think they just tied the Yankees tonight, if I'm not mistaken, for the American League East lead. They did. Yeah. Let's take a look at the standings here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. The Blue Jays had a 7-0 lead tonight on the Yankees. Yankees caught them at 9 on an Aaron Judge 2-run homer off another guy that was in my fantasy bullpen that's getting sent packing tonight too. Yeah. All right. So here's the standings in the American League. Okay. So we've got in the American League, we got the Blue Jays and Yankees in a dead tie, Tampa half game behind. None of those teams are sellers right now. They all look like buyers. Red Sox could be sellers. Orioles should be sellers. So we've got 2 sellers. Tigers are running away with it. It looks to me like the rest of the American League. We know the White Sox are definite sellers. We don't know about the Twins, Guardians, and Royals yet because of the wild card. In the National League West, it should be the A's should be selling. I mean, how would you like it, Giants fans, if the Giants were able to pull off a trade for, say, a Brent Rooker? Brent Rooker would be wonderful to have with the Giants. Or a guy like Butler. I mean, they might trade Leroy Butler, but Butler would be nice. Rooker would be nice. Nick Kurtz would be nice, but they're not getting rid of Nick Kurtz. He's a stud. We talk about Eldridge being a potential stud. This kid Kurtz can mash. So there's your American League standings, guys. And then if we look at the National League, it's the Phillies, Mets, the Braves. They look like they might be sellers, but Alex Anthopoulos will not make that decision until the very last moment, literally the last couple days before the trade deadline. He'll take it all the way up. Marlins should be selling. Nationals, I don't know if they're selling much, maybe some off pieces, but they're young. Central Division, the Pirates should be selling, and that's really about it. Everybody else is in the wild card, and do the Diamondbacks sell? Do the Diamondbacks sell on Naylor and Eugenio Suarez? And the Rockies should just not just sell; they ought to just sell the entire team. They ought to fold it. Just know when to hold them, know when to fold them. Just forget it. The Rockies are a mess. John Q. Adams, I know who that is, says, I'm just joining your podcast based on what I saw of Max injury, and it looks serious. So that means the Dodgers will be in play for third baseman Nolan Arenado, or if St. Louis asks too much. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier. Would St. Louis be willing to deal Arenado, being that they're right in the thick of the wild card? We did get a report back from somebody in the chat that it's a grade 1 MCL sprain, which is generally about a 2 to 3 week injury. Steph Curry had a grade 1 MCL strain in the playoffs, came back 2 weeks later and was fine for the rest of the playoffs. MCL grade 1 is 2 to 3 weeks. So that's good if you're a Dodgers fan, that it doesn't look like looks like he'd be back shortly after the All-Star break. Ryan McMahon would be an excellent third baseman acquisition for the Dodgers. And he's a lefty like Muncy as well. If Muncy's going to be back in 3 weeks, healthy, or 4 weeks at the most, they'll probably do something, where they can move the Dodgers can either call somebody up, or they can move Edmonds over to third, keep Betts at short. They got Kim at second. They got Kiki Hernandez. They can come in. I think he's the one that came in tonight and played third. They're loaded enough where they can withstand the injury. If it was a season-ending injury, I would say the Dodgers would be definitely going after an Arenado or a Bregman. Bregman is a guy that would be a guy that can opt out of his contract next year. Boston looks like they want to go young. If they were able to capitalize, Boston ends up getting, maybe a Dalton Rushing or something like that. Boston might jump at that. So we're going to see what else we got going here. Yeah, maybe I've heard Luis Severino, he's pitched well on the road. Tough to pitch in the park in Sacramento. Butler and Severino are the only 2 guys available. Okay. I think the Giants should look seriously at going after both of those guys. Butler's an upgrade over Yaz in right. Yaz can become the 4th outfielder. Severino would add to the pitching staff. That might be something that's gettable. Yeah, Johnny, but they're not going to probably – I can't see the Blue Jays. They're in an opportunity to win the American League East. And do you want to get something or just get nothing? I don't know. You got to weigh what's more valuable, getting a mid-level prospect for Bichette as someone giving up. They're not going to give you a top prospect for Bichette or top, I wouldn't imagine, for a rental. Or do you want to try and go and compete for a championship? Well, Austin Barnes. Well, I might leave that to my Dodger friend in the chat if he's still there, John Q. Adams. I think he's not high on Barnes at all. In my talks with John Q. Adams, which is a fictitious name, obviously, but he does not think highly of Austin Barnes. But I can tell you this, Austin Barnes is working out with the Giants here in Arizona in the ACL, Arizona Complex League. I think the plan is to bring up Austin Barnes shortly. And I think they will move on from Andrew Kinzer and Barnes. Unless the Giants did something and brought Barnes up and moved off of, say, Wisely, and instead of dropping Kinzer, they could drop a Wisely because Barnes can play a second base. He's also plays infield, and he can do that on a spot basis. And then you have yourself 3 catchers, which if you build your team right, you can actually build the team right. And then you have pinch hitters on the bench, guys like Flores or Smith and Yaz. If you add pieces and You have a third catcher, you could pinch hit for these guys in key situations, and you don't have to worry if you have a third emergency type catcher. Yeah, Kurtz is actually starting right now, I believe, at first base for Sacramento. I think he's playing most of the time. Yeah, 3 catchers that can't hit, exactly. But you've got so many guys on this team that can't hit. I'm just saying, if you want to have a little bit more flexibility, when Schmidt comes back, I would think Fitzgerald, once he figures things out, he's going to be your utility guy that moves around in the infield. Yeah, I don't think Austin Barnes is anything special at all. He probably is washed. He hasn't done much at all at the plate. But we'll see. We'll see how this ends up working out, guys. But hey, guys, I'm going to end the show right here. Appreciate you guys being part of NorCal Sports Network. Really does. And subscribe button before you leave the show. Just click on that like button. The more likes this show gets, the more the algorithm of YouTube likes it, sends it out to more people. So I really do appreciate that, and thank you for that. You're welcome. Payton, 6616, Vespa, 5, thank you. Have a great night. John Q. Adams, more viable trade out for San Francisco than Rooker, who isn't a very good outfielder. Leroy Butler's not bad. Thanks, Philip. Good to see you as always here in the chat. Again, the Giants win it tonight. I score 6-5 in 10 innings. Tomorrow they go for the series split. Tomorrow night it's going to be Robbie Ray on the mound for the Giants. And Arizona is going to be throwing, let's see, who do they got tomorrow? Robbie Ray against Brandon Pfaadt. So I would think the Giants have a slight advantage there. Good chance to get the split. Mark Graves, always good to see you, man. Don, good to see you. Thank you. Appreciate it. You guys mean everything to the chat. Couldn't do it without you guys. So we'll see you guys tomorrow night, though. So go Giants. Everybody have a great evening, and we'll see you tomorrow.